Truck of our planting reports, the 2024 Chevy Silverado, the Macon County Farm Bureau, AAK Mechanical, the McLean County Farm Bureau, Peterson Insurance, and Mansi Metal.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show on the Zoom call today is Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator for the U of I Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. Good morning, Caitlin. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. I've got my tea ready to go. Life is good.
Is there like a springtime, whether it's a morning beverage, whether it's just an evening beverage that you enjoy, Caitlin, like this time of the year as we transition into the summer months? Is there something you enjoy with this transition time?
So I am a tea person year round, but as the weather starts to heat up, I will do more iced teas, but I really like doing the herbal tea on ice. So I've got a cinnamon tea that I like that's really good cold. I've got one it's roasted dandelion root, which I know is like, everybody's like, dandelion's a weed, but there is a tea, and it's got this kind of mild, bitter coffee taste to it. So it's good cold or hot. So that's my transition period of, all right, today I'm still doing hot tea because I forgot to, put it in ice, but we'll get there. I'll get better at remembering that it's hot outside, and I'll get more to that cold drink.
That's interesting. I'll tell you what, I've got a list of topics I need to get to with folks in my future interviews. It's like we don't get to it, and it's like, oh, next month let's talk about this, and instead of trying to remember that, I've just started a list. Let's next month talk about tea and like putting it out in the sun and those sorts of things. Let's do that next month. I'll make a note of that on my list here. But for the time being, Caitlin, I don't know if folks are like me where like grilling season knows no end. Some people may be that way. Other people may they'll start dusting off the grill when it gets nice outside. We've probably gotten an early start on that this spring, to be quite honest. But I know in the past you and I have talked about Memorial Day weekend can sometimes be that jump start to the grilling summer season. So let's start there today, and whether folks have dusted off that grill to this point or they're just getting ready to get out and do that with maybe a party coming up this next weekend. Let's start there, Caitlin. Just grilling preparation for the summer season. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, so you kicked us off right away with just cleaning. So probably if you are unlike yourself, where grilling is not a year-round activity, pull that out of storage, wash it off, pull off the cobwebs, the dust, wherever it's been stored, and double check that everything appears still in good shape. If you're noticing rust, check how strong that rust is. If it's, kind of minor, you still cook with your grill, but if it's pretty major, you may want to look at replacing it or maybe seeing if you can scrub it down. So step one is always just cleaning. And then step two is if you are using propane or another fuel source, get that refilled, certainly, because you can't really do any grilling if you're out of fuel, or charcoal or whatever you're planning to use, get that stored up. And then look at the grates as well. So if they still have food residue or baked on fat or meat or anything from last season, get out that bristle brush. I've seen some recommendations even heating the grill up and using a cut half of a raw onion to use as a kind of scraper almost. So having the grill hot, the grates hot, and that raw onion to kind of help break apart some of the caked on grease or food residue can be helpful. But otherwise, you can buy grilling grates and pumice stones and things to scrape away that food. From the other side of this, right, is food safety, which is, of course, a lot of what we talk about when I'm on the segment. And so all of that is food safety first. So if you are walking from a indoor kitchen or even an outdoor kitchen to your grill, be very mindful of which surfaces you're touching. Especially, we tend to use a lot of raw meats on grills. So having a way to get outdoors without having to use hands that have maybe touched raw meat. So having plates you can bring out with you, bring a couple sets of tongs or whatever tools you're going to flip so you can have one tool to put the raw meat on the grill, and then a second tool that's not touched that raw meat that can flip the meat once the outside's cooked. Because we want to make sure that we're not cross-contaminating. Same for any of your side dishes that you're bringing with you. So if you're bringing potato salad or pasta salad or fruit or some other type of side, even like, burger buns, hamburger buns, have those on separate plates so that you're not cross-contaminating with the raw meat.
Yeah, that's one thing, since you and I have been talking about this many years ago now, but still, that's one thing I've tried to be very cognizant of is not overlapping meats and, particularly the utensils and those sorts of things. Another one, Caitlin, that's really been top of mind for me is cleaning surfaces. I was really bad about that early on, but your tips on that have really kind of made me more aware of that. Let's speak to that a little bit here this morning.
Well, I think I'm going to have to put you as a success story in my reporting for work there. I love it. Yeah, so yes, same thing with surfaces. So having even bring out a bucket of soapy water. So if you need to drop your hands in that and wash them off. But absolutely, you said something earlier about not overlapping meat. So we do talk about different meats get cooked to different temperatures. Even if you're doing something like fruits or vegetables on your grill, those we do want to be very aware of where those are on the grill and are they going to cross-contaminate. So we cook chicken and other poultry to higher temperatures than we might cook, say, something like a hamburger. Or even something like fruit or vegetables. We're really maybe just trying to warm it through and kind of soften it, like asparagus or pineapple or a peach on the grill. We're just trying to kind of warm it through, soften it in, get a little bit of that grilled charredness to the outside, versus the chicken or turkey or whatever you're using. We cook that to a much longer temperature. So making sure that maybe we're starting with the lower temperature foods first. So maybe we're putting on the vegetables, cooking those, pulling them off, and then adding in the burgers next, because those will cook to a little bit lower temperature, and then adding in the chicken, which will cook to a little bit higher temperature than the burgers. If you've got a small grill. If you've got a bigger grill, certainly space everything a good distance apart, right? So that you are able to keep control of how those have to cook based on temperature.
It's funny. I feel like I've got a big grill, but that space quickly fills up there when I'm throwing the food on it there, Caitlin. But hey, I wanted to ask. You mentioned cooking your chicken in separate places and those sorts of things. I know some grills you can control the heat levels from one side to the other. I know when I'm doing charcoal, I start to notice there are some spots that are getting more heat to the grill grate than another. So let's speak to making sure we cook our food thoroughly and making sure that that's not something we have an issue with, whether it's this Memorial Day weekend or as we cook throughout the summer.
And I love seeing people using food thermometers. It makes my heart happy when I see that. I know that a lot of people are like, do I really have to poke my food and put a hole in it? But that really is the only way to be sure what the temperature is. I know I'll see things on social media or, recommending, it's based on, the certain pressure. If you push on the meat, if it feels like, pushing on your palm or on, a closed fist, it's still really hard to judge that because everyone's pressure sensors are different. So really get that food thermometer. If you have a little bit of money, you want to invest in a grilling type thermometer where they have a longer probe with an attached cord that has a magnetic sensor that sits on the outside of your grill, and you can just watch that temperature rise. Those are excellent because you don't have to keep opening and closing your grill and losing heat. They are more pricey, but if you are an avid griller, it can make sense to purchase something to just help you double check that temperature. And then all of the food temperatures, USDA.gov will have lists for all the recommended temperatures because, as we talked about, different cuts of meat will cook to different final temperatures.
Very good. Well, Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, U of I Extension with in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. You mentioned grilling vegetables on the grill, and I've seen actually grilling fruit is becoming a little more popular. Pineapple, peaches, I've seen a lot of that on Instagram of late. Let's dive into, Caitlin, produce on the grill and what's kind of in season right now. What are folks really going to be able to find at that the grocery store this weekend as they prepare for Memorial Day?
Yeah, so it is finally warm enough. We're getting some of the spring crops. So we are seeing some ones that you mentioned already. So asparagus is coming in, radishes are coming in. Strawberries are just kind of popping out of the ground. I've been seeing more local farms say that they're getting pretty close, or maybe they're already there with fresh strawberries. Peaches, we're gonna have to wait on that for a little while later into the season. But these are great ways to add flavor to your vegetables and fruits, and also just like make use of the same cooking space, right? You don't have to have a separate oven for that. Do consider investing in a grilling tray of some kind, because things like asparagus, if you have great style grills, those asparagus are just going to roll right off right into your charcoal or below the grill. So invest in a grilling grate so it has little holes in it, but not enough size holes for foods to fall through. So
Right.
use those. Mushrooms are a great addition to this, or if you want to try something on a kebab stick, do check if you have metal kebab sticks, great. If you're using wood, the recommendation is usually to soak those for a little bit of time so they don't burn and catch fire on the grill. So you can put those on sticks. Bell peppers will be great on this. Zucchini is, they're not necessarily in season just yet in Illinois, but you may still find those in your local store. Do a little combo, right? Try a little bit of bell pepper with some onion, with some asparagus. You can also look at even like doing wraps. So if you wanted to do a wrapped or a stuffed item. So I know asparagus wrapped in bacon is very popular for some folks. You could certainly try a bell pepper on a grill with, some different cheeses, or like a stuffed mushroom cap kind of thing on the grill. You can get very creative. So you're also getting in nutrition, which I know is not our theme today, but you're getting in nutrition, right? And enjoying those vegetables.
My dad used to love making kebabs when we were kids, and for whatever reason, I have had zero luck. Even soaking the steaks you're talking about, the wood sticks, I've had zero luck soaking those and them not burning. But it's still fun to do. The metal tongs, though, those are a life changer for sure when you're doing kebabs. But Caitlin, as we think about produce and those sorts of things, anything else to keep in mind? Whether it's preparation, whether it's what we'll find, anything else that we didn't touch on there?
So I encourage everybody to go check out your local extension office, because this is that time of year where our horticulture team, our master gardeners, are going to be out in full force doing plant sales, doing identification of pests, helping answer questions for the gardeners out there. So go find your local extension office, ask for a master gardener for any questions you have about tree care, about plants growing in your garden, about your fruit and vegetables that you've got growing. Use our resources, because that's what we're here for.
Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator with the U of I Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. My guest on the phone. More to come with Caitlin on the morning show.
WHOW.
Illinois Ag Better. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat all lower at this hour. July corn down to nickel, 457 and a half. September corn 468 and a quarter, also down a nickel. New crop December 482 and a quarter, down 4 3/4. July beans 1211 and a half, down 2. August beans down 3 1/4, 1213. New crop November 1197, down 4. July wheat 663, down 2 3/4. September wheat down 2 pennies, 684. July bean meal 368.30, that's down 340. July bean oil 44.02, up 47 cents. Livestock market at this hour. May feeders 244.70, up $1.55. June live cattle 179.30, up $1.05. June lean hogs 96.65, down 85 cents. Energy market, June crude oil 79.55, up 92 cents. Jim Taylor on the RFD.
As the seasons change, so does all the stuff in the air that trigger allergy season. CEO Paul Skowron here from Warner Hospital and Health Services, reminding you our walk-in clinic inside our Family Medicine Center is ready to treat those allergies that have you sneezing, blowing your nose, and just making you miserable. No appointment? No problem. Get to our walk-in clinic inside our Family Medicine Center at Warner Hospital at Health Services in Clinton and get feeling better fast.
John Prater here, your new country financial agent at 320 East Van Buren in Clinton. I'd love to meet you as I get connected to the Clinton community. Find out more by clicking on my icon at dewitdailynews.com.
Connexus will provide local, reliable, affordable, and speed of light fiber internet to Clinton. Get on the install list now by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Fiber internet is coming to Clinton. Get on the install list now.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks again for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. On the Zoom call with us today is Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator for the U of I extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. Caitlin, before we go any further, I'm stopping to say happy birthday here in a couple of weeks. What are you doing for your birthday?
Thanks. Yeah. So usually it's very low key, but because my birthday always falls around the Memorial Day holiday, there's always things that we'll do with family, and I will be putting some probably cookie bars on my list. I've never been much of a cake person, probably because it makes a ton. And you have to eat it forever and ever. But cookies, I can do some cookies.
There you go. You don't make your own treats for your birthday, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why not? And that's because I enjoy it, right? If I didn't enjoy it, I'd let somebody else do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There you go. There you go. Very good. Well, happy birthday, Caitlin. I hope it's a good one for you. I hope you have a great holiday weekend to go along with it as well. Let's dive into, I know that you like to come up with these, or not come up with these, but, do some research on, what the theme of each month is. Last month we talked about May is eggs month. June is vinegar month. So I have gotten into cooking with vinegar more frequently lately, just because that's what the recipes I use call for, not because I'm a connoisseur with this stuff. So how about vinegar and cooking with vinegar there, Caitlin?
It is a great way to add flavor. So when I do classes on heart health, we always talk about ways to reduce salt and sodium when we're cooking. And we do talk about herbs and spices, but vinegar is an excellent flavor addition for marinades, for salad dressings, and we'll add to sauces. So if you've ever done a homemade kind of like stir fry sauce, there's usually some vinegar associated with that. Give it a little bit of tang to it. You can cook with vinegar. You can actually we have some extension resources from extensions around the country on how to make your own vinegar, which is very cool. I've never tried it, so it's on my to-do list someday to do that. And I like to bring up this topic because we're also getting into canning season. And I think it was last summer maybe, we had a couple of reports from extensions around the country saying, we're noticing that this vinegar is very low. So we're usually looking at about a 5% dilution on vinegar. And we saw stores that were selling at like 4%. And we went, oh, okay. So if you are doing home canning that uses vinegar with that, so a lot of salsa recipes for canning will have vinegar in them. And we said, be very aware when you're shopping, double check the dilution on that vinegar to make sure that you've got that appropriate dilution ratio for safe canning. But yeah, go use vinegar. There's so many flavors of vinegar, right? In my cabinet alone, I know I've got basic white vinegar, I've got apple cider, I've got rice vinegar, I've got some flavor vinegars like balsamic and red wine vinegar.
Yeah, red wine vinegar. That's a real good one.
Yeah, you can, there's so many flavors. They last forever, which is a great thing if you're investing in multiple bottles. Just know that they're going to last forever. And so you don't have to worry about them going bad because they're already purposely sour. So they're a great shelf-stable product to buy. All sorts of good reasons to use vinegar. The thing that I'm hearing more is the vinegar is a kind of a cure-all, right? We're hearing more about this. Oh, it's going to prevent my diabetes. It's going to heal my acid reflux. It's going to do all these things. And so just as a reminder, vinegar is a great flavor enhancer to foods and cooking. We don't have enough studies to really say just yet if vinegar and how much can impact different chronic conditions if it does. So I know we'll see like apple cider vinegar, even like capsules for as supplements. And right now we don't have great research on how that works and how that impacts. There are some small studies that are great starting points for this, but right now, worry more about it in cooking and eating with it rather than trying to use it as a cure-all for different health conditions.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really good, especially like with some sandwiches and stuff. Gosh, vinegar, just splashing it on top a little bit there. That's been a go-to for us here in recent weeks for sure. Caitlin, I want to ask you about upcoming classes because you've had some really cool ones coming up here. What do you have? What's on your calendar?
Yeah, so we are doing quite a few things in DeWitt and Piatt counties and a little bit in Macon County. So we have our upcoming classes for cooking for one or two for adults. That is coming to the Warner Library there in Clinton at the end of the month. So actually, I noticed it's going to be right after. So May the 30th. So we're into that holiday weekend. So come on down to that one. It's an evening class. We're going to talk about small household cooking. So if you are just a small household in general, or you have maybe experienced an empty nest recently and you've gone from having kids in the house and now you don't, this is going to be a great class to kind of help you give some ideas of, all right, how do I shrink my menu? How do I budget appropriately for this? And then this summer, we've got some kids programs. So we've got our Kids in the Kitchen program and our Cooking with Grandma, which is a new kind of kickoff program. So the Cooking with Grandma one we've got as bring a grandma or an older relative with you, and we're going to do some fun cooking. And if your grandma lives far away, we have a partnership with our home and community education ladies, and so you get a little stand-in grandma for the day. So again, if you don't have a close relative nearby, don't worry, we'll kind of have a surrogate grandma for the class that day. And then the Kids in the Kitchen one is a multi-part series. We're coming first to Monticello at the Presbyterian Church. So all of those you can find and register and learn more about at our website, go.illinois.edu/DMP for DeWitt, Macon, Piatt, or find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Easy enough, Caitlin. Great way to end it there. Enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. Happy birthday one more time. We will catch you next month. Thanks for doing this with us.
Thanks, Seth. Same to you.
That is Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, U of I Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.
WHOW.
The Big